Good evening, my name is Emily Rachowski.
And my name is Karen Marks.
And welcome to the newsroom.
This evening we are discussing the horrendous mistakes our fellow newscasters have made in the past few years by misreporting the news.
We know what you're thinking.
Who? What? When? Where? Why? The agony! Don't worry, we'll answer all of your questions here.
Because on this news network, we report the truth.
Let's set the scene.
June 28th, 2012, where it all began.
The Supreme Court was releasing its ruling on the Obama health care plan.
Well, the ruling is, Obama health care is unconstitutional.
Woo! Wow! Woo!
I think.
A few moments later.
Well, the problem with the ruling was that it was really, really long, and a lot of the words were really complicated, and I couldn't really understand it. So I kind of got it wrong, and Obama health care is actually constitutional.
No! No!
Does this mistake seem stupid? Good, because it was.
Not only did CNN get this wrong, but Fox News too, confusing the public and President Obama himself.
CNN did not even read the court's ruling before releasing their opinion of it. News is not meant to be opinion or belief, but is meant to be the truth.
If they cannot report the truth, then the report should not even be released at all.
But this isn't the only mistake news stations have made.
This just in, we've received some news on the recent Sandy Hook shooting. Okay, it's coming in. We've reached a suspect, Ryan Lanza. This just in, they've searched his apartment in Hoboken, New Jersey. It has been confirmed that he was buzzed in at the school. This just in, Lanza had a confrontation with one of the teachers the previous day. This just in, Ryan Lanza's mother, Nancy, worked there. This just in, Nancy Lanza was killed in her classroom. Pretty reliable, right?
The journalists were using their smartphones to release information from eyewitnesses that ended up not being truthful. In a tragedy such as Sandy Hook, it's extremely important to get the information right because many people are dependent on news organizations for information about family and friends.
Yet major news networks like CNN, CBS, the Associated Press, and even the New York Times all reported the same incorrect information. In the earlier reports, there were just many facts released that ended up being completely wrong.
Misreporting news isn't just mindless gossip on blogs and social networks, but now it's extending to the big-name journalist. They're getting it wrong again and again. When will this all be put to an end?
This just in!
We've received a sketch of the bomber. This is her. She's wearing colored pants.
Wait. There's her!
We found the bomber. You should get him.
We found the bomber!
I'm just a high school student with colored pants. In the Boston bombing, colored pants weren't the key to the suspects. Backpacks were. So the New York Post released a report claiming that two men were the suspects. The only means of their identification was that they were coincidentally wearing black backpacks.
We stand by our story, the Post editor Cole Allen said in a statement sent out earlier the Thursday afternoon. The image was emailed to a law enforcement agency yesterday afternoon seeking information about these men. As our story reported, we did not identify them as suspects. The Post claimed to not identify them as suspects even though the title of their article was claiming that the men were being sought by federal authorities.
Without regulation, the media is given the ability to lie. They can put out false information without retribution, causing damage to the government and the people. The reason they are able to do this is because they hide behind the First Amendment. Welcome to Throwback Thursday. We're throwing it back all the way to 1971 with the case United States versus the New York Times.
Let me give you a little gist of this. Basically, the New York Times illegally obtained these documents, federal papers, called the Pentagon Papers, and were planning on putting them in an article that they were going to publish in their newspaper. The United States did not like this. They then gave a court injunction to the New York Times saying that it would cause public distress. The New York Times retaliated and, surprise, surprise, hid behind the First Amendment.
The case was brought all the way to the Supreme Court. Most of the judges ruled in favor of the New York Times, but a lot of the judges said that the First Amendment was not absolute and it had to be adaptable to modern times.
Hey, what do you mean by modern times?
Well, Carrie, do you have a smartphone?
Yeah, right here.
What kind of social network apps do you have on your smartphone?
I don't know, I use Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Vine, all that.
Well, that's the modern times. You're able to get all this news and information right in your hand in a split second.
Hey, you're right! Basically, it's been said speed is the natural enemy of accuracy in the breaking news. News networks today are caught up in the social media aspect of it all and are negligent to the power that social media has in our world today. They do not understand that once information is released via the internet or television, there's no taking it back. The words are out there for the public to see forever.
The main issue is that since there are no major consequences for misreporting news, major networks such as CNN and the New York Times do not feel the need to check over and make sure what they're actually reporting is true or not. This needs to change, especially since social media has integrated into our society and become a vital part of the past few years. A law needs to be installed to punish negligent news networks. The First Amendment should not be used to cover up the blatant negligence of the powerhouse networks. The First Amendment was meant to allow the truth, not cover up the lies.
Throughout the years, misreporting news has grown into an average day monster, corrupting our world. All we're asking for is those news networks that are negligent to the truth be punished and face some sort of ramifications for their laziness. News networks have hidden behind the First Amendment for too long, and it's time that justice is served. And that has been the Newsroom.
Signing off. Go home, Carrie.
Who? Let's set the scene.
Oh, we're supposed to look at the camera together? Okay.
Platypus noise.
Okay, remember that. Can you just cut this one?
Jesus Christ, how did you get into the class?
What is it? Cold world, no blanket. Ow. That rhymed. That was nice.
Wait, can I redo it? America.
America!
America!
And that's all, folks.